I'm here because of you.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm sitting here with Elizabeth Taylor, and before we get into any talk, I would like to show something to the folks who are watching my show.
Everything all right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they take the money?
I took it.
Did you find a jockey? But I thought you'd find a jockey, Mike.
Be grateful for what you have, Velvet. You've got the £100 safe at Weatherby's. You've got the expense money. You have the horse.
I know. I ought to be grateful, Mike. But I can't help it. I want it all quickly, because I don't want God to stop and think and wonder if I'm getting more than my share.
Now, it is an amazing thing to me, because you are a woman who has been what I've always considered a movie star, but from almost birth. You know, do you ever get to the place where you wonder if you missed anything being a child star?
Well, I was like in movies at the age of 9, and I guess what you call a movie star at 12 after National Velvet. And I did miss out on all the like high school things and football games and proms and your basic childhood. My friends were all the guys on this set, really.
These guys would love to be your friend.
Hey, buddies. And they used to give me treats and candy and comic books. And they were the people I related to. So I didn't have a childhood. And when I did have, like, time off, I would ride my horse, which is a solitary thing. And I loved that, getting away from everyone, all kind of supervision. I was so supervised by my parents, by the studio. I was like under scrutiny the entire time, but when I got on my horse, I could be anyone, anything, and soar. So it was great.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
For tonight. What are you wearing? You have a new dress? It's blue? Judy, dear, don't you think your pink would be more appropriate?
Now, I would say, Jerry, that was truly some Elizabeth Taylor music, honey. You know, it's just like the curtains part and there you are.
Floating down a staircase in pleated chiffon.
Well, many a day did I spend watching you on my black and white. Floating down staircases, riding
No,
on.
that was Loretta Young.
No, honey.
No?
I know the difference between you and Loretta.
Oh, okay.
No, Loretta was like, ooh. You know, it was like, you know, you couldn't mess with Loretta, but you could run up and hug you. You know, you looking out the window in Giant. For me as a kid, I wanted to be there waving. It's crazy. I know that, yes.
I wish you had been.
Me too. Me too. When you think about Hollywood now, what's missing?
Well, the big studios, the whole system is different. I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think people like L.B. Mayer were monsters.
Mm.
And, like, if you got pregnant, you were put on suspension. If you didn't like a script, you were put on suspension. So you had to live your life according to what they wanted you to do. Otherwise, it was like being sent to jail. Otherwise, you couldn't live because you were on a weekly paid contract. You were paid by the week. If you were a bad girl, your pay was cut off. A bad girl like getting pregnant.
Were you a rebellious girl, movie star?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't like having a gun at my head.
You don't react well to that sort of behavior, right?
No. I didn't then. I don't think I ever will. I've tried to sort of behave. It's not working.
Why don't we see more of you in the films now?
I think I'm just too old. There are no roles around for women my age.
But you're Elizabeth Taylor.
I'm a very old Elizabeth Taylor.
So, I mean, what about what is it? Fried green tomato? Yes, it was fried green tomatoes, or the other one with sugar.
Well, I'm not old enough yet for that. So
are you at that awkward stage,
I'm
girl?
at the awkward age. I didn't go through it when I was a kid. I'm going through it now.
Did you become rebellious that when you found that the older you got as a teenager, that you started to get those places where nobody could tell you what to do?
No, I don't think I became rebellious until I left home and knew that I could, like, take off my jeans and throw them on the floor if I felt like it. And nobody was going to give me a hold for it. Right. And it was like, wow, that felt good. But then, I mean, in real rebellion as a human being, rebellion about society and things that mattered, I had a sense of outrage, I guess, against inequities all my life. And the minute I was allowed to express myself on my own, I did.
Now, you are a private person, I know that. But how do you, I mean, when you got married, they just, it was like, I don't know what, they were everywhere.
It was gorgeous. It was bananas.
How do you deal with that?
Well, when we were inside the house, I swore and was really angry. And then I looked outside, and my two Michaels were there, my son and Michael Jackson. And I thought, no, I'm not going to let those mothers spoil the beauty of this day. And it was a golden day. And I just thought, okay, shine it off. I just turned it completely off and just concentrated on what was happening here.
How do you prepare Larry for this? What do you say to him?
He's miraculous. I mean, he is coping so marvelously. He takes each day at a time and each step at a time. In the beginning, it must have been like an assault. And he's a very shy person.
Yeah.
I'm a shy person, which some people find very hard to believe. But I think a lot of performers are.
Yeah.
And like doing our thing on film or whatever is our way of releasing. And Larry is just, he is still very shy, but he listens and absorbs everything and just sucks it all in. And he's the quiet observer. And it's fascinating to watch him over the years. It's been 4 years now, and we've been married almost a year.
What is it that you've been looking for? Is it that quiet energy? Someone who can be there?
He gives me a sense of such security, and I don't mean peace in a dull way, because we don't have a dull relationship at all. Hardly.
Thank goodness, girl.
Thank God. But he gives me a kind of inner peace. And I know that I'm protected. I know that he's there for me.
Good support system.
Oh, yeah. We support each other.
Is that new for you, to be with a man who will allow you to be supportive of him as well? In this fashion?
And especially, since we met at Betty Ford.
Right.
We are each other's support system. And we rely very much on that. And it's a really deep bond.
Yeah.
To meet somebody under those circumstances, you get to know them very well.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Go ahead, tell him. You're a sports announcer. Give us a running account of the All-American bust. Tell Big Daddy how many times Skipper fumbled and stumbled and fell apart. On offensive, he was useless. On defensive, he was a coward. And it was all over. Chicago 47, Dixie Star 0.
Yeah, I bet that.
Oh.
Not everywhere.
Go see your mom, yeah.
I've got mine.
I want to ask you something, because I think it. Maybe there's a secret. Maybe there's a secret you have. Where does the reserve come from when you have to gather yourself up from tragedy after tragedy after tragedy? You have not had like the easiest life.
It reads rather like a very bad soap opera. I don't know. Sometimes, like when I was in the hospital a year and a half ago, and they told me I was dying, and I had to go on a life support machine. I lay there and thought, there must be a reason for this. There must be some message. I must be learning something from this experience. Things just don't happen for no reason. But what is it? What am I supposed to be learning? How am I supposed to be benefiting from this? How will I be a better person? And I couldn't find the answer. And then I thought, maybe that's it. Maybe the fact that I don't know the answer. I am totally vulnerable. I gave up. I surrendered. And I prayed to God. I've always had a sense of spirituality and of God. But I thought there must be a reason for my being alive, and the reason will come clear to me. And I think the reason probably is to help other people, or to try.
Yeah. Has your sense of self come a very long way from that little girl in National Velvet to the woman now?
I think I've always had a strong sense of my own identity. Otherwise, like at 15, I couldn't have told L.B. Mayer to go to hell and take his studio with it. I've always kind of known who I was. And I may not always have done the right thing, but I think I have learned from my mistakes. And I think that's what it's all about, learning from tragedy. Because if you don't have pain, you don't know what joy is. And it's made me relish the moments of joy and appreciate, like good health, that much more. Appreciate happiness that much more. And you can only reach that point if you've been at the bottom.
Are you having fun these days?
Oh, yeah. I'm working hard with my perfume, and fortunately it keeps the wolf from the door. And I work a lot for AIDS, and that certainly keeps me busy.
Yeah. Before AIDS became somewhat fashionable for a lot of other people to be associated with, because a lot of folks didn't understand and didn't know what was going on. for years.
Yeah.
You were in the forefront. You were there. Now, what made you get it before everybody else did?
Well, I was involved in the first dinner for APLA. And the reaction of people in this town, in show business, was extraordinary. No one wanted to come to this dinner. I made the phone calls myself, and I've never received so many no's in my life, and I couldn't understand, and I would say, why? Well, we don't want to get involved. We give to heart. We give to cancer. We don't have the time. We don't really want to be involved in this particular charity. Other people would say, oh, it's just another one of your lame dog causes, Elizabeth. You know, drop it. It'll go away. And I would just lose my cool totally and say, this is not going away. It's going to become an epidemic. I didn't know it would become a pandemic, but I did know from doctor friends that it was going to become an epidemic and that it was dangerous. And then I found out that Rock was sick, and I saw him, and I felt personally the tragedy of a very dear friend. And I saw him. I saw him in the hospital. I saw him the day before he died. And it was riveting. And I finally, because of Rock, was able to get people to come to the dinner. The town finally said, oh, one of our own has been stricken. And then Hollywood really got their shit together and has, I think, done an amazing job, more than any other industry.
Well, most of that is thanks to you.
No, it's the people have...
Well, you know, we had to get over a lot of homophobia.
Oh.
We had to get over this whole idea that it was them and not us.
Yeah. And you know what really cheesed me off was that homophobia, because without homosexuals, there wouldn't be this town.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, go ahead, girl.
Well, it's true.
Yes.
The creative, I start to stutter. The creativeness of homosexuals, this town, the arts, are built on that. You take homosexual input out, and there is no Hollywood.
Do you know how many toupees have just flipped?
I hope so.
We'll be right back. Well, I have to tell you, this has been a blast. It's been a real blast for me.
Oh, it
and
has been.
I want people to know where to help, how to help. And you have the Elizabeth Taylor Foundation, and if they want to send checks or money orders, that will go across the country to help people with AIDS. They can send it to P.O. Box 17160, Los Angeles, California, 90017. Now, Elizabeth, you know, if you're not busy tomorrow night, you know, my guest is going to be Ted Danson. I'd love it if you'd watch my show.
Well, can I come?
Sure.
Because I think he's so adorable.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Larry.
Be there. Good night.